do we get in the kit? The main board itself, of course. Then we're going to get ourselves an old school, really old school PCU or a power supply. Then we're going to get ourselves a very long ribbon cable and the control board. Yeah, so the control board is needed for basically reconfiguring in the menu and the machine itself. Yeah, that is some really old school stuff. But what is about this gigantic beast? Like, you connect it with a freaking power supply of an PC. Yeah, absolutely, like really crazy. So how you need to connect this thing? So what you're going to get with this is just an, yeah, or better said, I got this weird Gen Max, never heard of this brand, 480 watts of a power supply. It has all the connection that we're going to need, but it does have like a SATA connection here and some other stuff. But that is not the only thing that we're going to get. We're going to get two fans in here. This thing is quite loud, like the really old school fans, like Pentium 4 time. So the only thing that we need to do is plug in this 4-pin, and then we're done. Then we need to connect the second one, and that's the only thing that we need to do. But next up, let's take a close look how you need to connect the control board. At the top, we're going to get an IDA connection. Yep, we're going really old school now. The only thing that we need to do is plug in this gigantic, really long IDA cable. I need to get myself another one because this thing is freaking annoying, like it's too long. Yeah, and on the other end, we're going to get the same way of the connection. And so let's roll it off. Keep rolling. All right. And then we're going to get ourselves the control board over here. Let's plug that bad boy in. And we're ready to go. But what I also notice, like what I understand of this PCB, we're also going to give us the 4-play option. So play 3 or 4 need to connect with this jammer connection over there. But before we're going to plug it in and play some games, let's do a quick overview of the board itself. So at the bottom, we're going to get this gigantic plate if you want to mount it in an arcade machine. So at the top, you can see like this gigantic PCB and a lot of extra components that also like have the input and give the main board itself the power. And yeah, it also includes the IDA connection for the controller board I've showed you, and a gap for the fan. And over here we're going to get the JAMMA connection, and for JAMMA especially for the arcades. So basically this is not something we're going to use in this video. We can use it, like you can plug in your old arcade machine if you want to, but the other one, like what you're going to get over here, is basically like an old school Pentium 4 with the ADA drive. Yeah, seriously, like what the hell. So here you can see like this ribbon cable that goes straight into the main board to the hard drive. This thing comes with an old school hard drive. I think you cannot really see it, but it is an old school 128 gigabyte. Yeah, that is some really old school stuff. But the main problem of these boards are like if the hard drive dies, you have a problem. So then we're going to get all the old school connections. There is no HDMI on this board. We're going to get this extra VGA connection if you need it in an arcade machine. So there are quite some options with this old bad boy. Then we're going to get the normal VGA connection over there. So the audio didn't work, what the seller told me. I have a solution for you. I will just give you this USB converter so you still have the sound, and it works very well. But let's do a quick overview over here, because this is quite interesting piece of hardware. So there we're going to see this PCB that is on the serial port, and it will be connecting to the topper or the JAMMA converter. So in my opinion, it's quite an interesting construction when you're looking at it. And of course, we're going to get 2 USB ports and some old school PS2 connections. Oh yeah. Alright, so let's fire up this bad boy. I'm really excited to boot it up. I get myself a keyboard. I will use a keyboard for now, because this thing runs on Windows 2000. Yeah, seriously, like, so we have some limitation with the controllers. And if I'm going to use this thing actually like a game system, I can always like configure some drivers, installing my controllers. I have piles of these controllers laying around. Some of these things will work. Where we're having with a Pandora box and 12-volt power supply, we needed like a freaking old school power supply of a PC for this gigantic beast. But they also call this thing the Games family. And yeah, they're still selling this thing. Like, you would not surprising. Like, they still keep selling these devices. No idea why. I know like Killer Instinct is running on this, but nowadays with the Pandora box we can play a lot of stuff. Like, this thing comes with 1315 games, and basically when you're looking at the list, it's nothing really special. All the same stuff that we have seen in before. It does have the option for different platforms, so that's quite interesting for a very old kind of a technology. But the Games family, what kind of games does it have? So when you're looking at a Pandora box, we have so many freaking games that we can play with a Pandora's box or something else. And with the Games family, it's quite limited. We do have like 3-dimensional games, but that is something we didn't have like with the first generation of Pandora's boxes. But now the Pandora's boxes like are supreme. Besides that it doesn't play Killer Instinct, that makes no sense in my opinion. Such a weird thing, because this Pentium 4 is not that powerful, basically like in Pandora's box. But let's get into some gaming action. I just wanted to see what this thing is capable of and how good is the emulation, because that is always like an issue with these freaking Pandora's boxes. So when you're looking at Killer Instinct, I know it will give some screen tearing here and there. It still has the same issues like in Pandora's box. Take consideration are quite some different versions out there, but when you look at Pandora's box, I think they didn't really fix anything when it comes to game family versions. But overall, the performance is not super bad. Okay, so next up, Mortal Kombat 1 is not super special because we can play this on Pandora's boxes, some of them, not all of them. But still, it runs pretty damn awesome. I love the game, good emulation performance, but yeah, it's cool to see it running on the games family. But okay, so I found it quite interesting to see that Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 are running very well on this device, but not on all Pandora's boxes. Okay, but beside Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3 and the Killer Instinct games, we have a lot of stuff that we can play with a Pandora's box just perfectly. And the Pandora's box are like so much easier to connect with your, let's say, arcade machine. And yeah, that's the difference. I must say that overall performance when it comes to the emulation is pretty damn good. And that's always like with Pandora's box a mixed thing. Sometimes we have like Pandora's box with okay emulation or pretty damn good, but sometimes it's freaking awful. But should you buy a gigantic board like this for basic games like in Magical Drop? I think not. Okay, so what I do like about it that we still have a lot of options when it comes to the emulator itself. Something that is also not common with Pandora's boxes. We can mess around with auto fire, custom buttons. You can reconfigure a lot of stuff that you couldn't do with Pandora's boxes in general. But still, it's such a bummer. It has potential. It's very clunky with a big power supply. Yeah, let me know in the comments what do you think of this. But thank you all for watching. Join Ritter Ralph on his channel for some awesome videos. I will leave a link in the description to his channel. And it would be great to see you all in the next video.